Hi everybody, welcome to my channel if you're new here. If you're not new here, welcome back. This week's video is going to be 10 ways to take control of your life and become your highest self in 2024. I've recently been really into planning for the new year and really been taking the time to reflect and think about what I want my life to look like and what habits I'm going to start implementing into my daily routine to get where I want to be. So I just thought because it's the first month of the new year, it'd be good to sit down and talk about some healthy habits and good changes you can make to make this year the best one yet. These tips are for helping your relationships with friends and family, as well as your personal relationship with yourself and your environment, and it kind of covers all the bases, and I just think this is some good information to share if you're trying to make changes and have a fresh start. I also want to say that the things on this list are things that I'm still working on in my personal life actively. Some of them I'm better at than others, but I just want to say I'm still working on these habits and tips in my life every day, and I'm getting better and better, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. Well, anyways, let's get into it. The first piece of advice I have for you guys is to mute or unfollow anybody that makes you feel negatively about your life. I find that whenever I follow negative people, it just instantly puts me in a bad mood and affects how I feel about myself. A good example is an influencer that might have things that you don't have, and every time you see their posts, you're just like, why don't I have their life? Why can't I have their money or their success? And that is just gonna keep making you feel bad about yourself. So my tip is just to unfollow them or mute them. If you don't want to unfollow somebody, you can just mute them. I personally think that's the best feature Instagram ever came out with, because you can easily just choose when you want to stop seeing someone's posts and you don't have to unfollow them. So personally, I would just mute anybody that's making you feel bad about yourself or puts you in a negative mood, because you don't need that energy this year. The next tip I have that is honestly a lot more difficult and easier said than done is to set boundaries and be comfortable having uncomfortable conversations. So this is something I really got a lot of experience with towards the end of 2023. I was put in positions where it was time for me to speak up and say no or set boundaries with people. Whether that was friends or family or in my work life, I've experienced having to be in that position and needing to speak up. I'm the kind of person that has always been non-confrontational. I don't like to speak up. It makes me really uncomfortable, and I've always been that way. But honestly, a big learning lesson I had in 2023 was that if you don't speak up, nothing is gonna get done, and you don't get anywhere by not stating how you feel and not speaking up for yourself or standing up for yourself. So one of my #1 resolutions for this year is to start speaking up more and setting boundaries, and if that scares people away, that's fine. I just think having a strong personality and knowing that you don't tolerate disrespect and you have boundaries and standards for the people in your life will automatically filter out the bad people, and if you can't keep up with that, then that's fine, then you don't get to be in my life. And also, you don't have to be mean about it. There's a way to do it where you can still be respectful and not harsh, but these are my boundaries, these are my standards to be in my life. You don't get to treat me however you want to treat me, you treat me how I teach you to treat me, if that makes sense. You really do teach people how to treat you, and going into this year, I'm still gonna keep the same mindset of like, I'm keeping to my standards and holding boundaries, and if you can't keep up with that or that scares you, then you can't be in my life. And don't get me wrong, this skill is so hard to master, and being able to respect yourself enough to stand up for yourself and speak up when things aren't okay is really hard, and sometimes it can feel awkward or uncomfortable, and these conversations are not conversations you want to have all the time, but it really is necessary, because if you don't respect yourself enough to have those conversations with people and speak up for yourself, you will continue to get treated like a doormat, and also no one's going to respect you if you don't respect yourself. So I just think if you're able to set boundaries and speak up for yourself and be firm, people will respect you so much more, and it filters out the good and bad people in your life. For example, if you have a friend that always kind of talks down to you or isn't that respectful of your time, and you've been putting up with it for years or even just the past year, it's time to speak up. This is what I'm talking about. So it's time to have that conversation of like, hey, I don't appreciate that you speak down to me all the time, or I don't appreciate that you don't value my time and always cancel our plans last minute. It makes me feel like you don't prioritize me. Like, these conversations, again, are not fun to have, but once you do, you'll find that people respect you more, and it does actually strengthen your relationships. So personally, I find that to be the most transformative tip in my life. The next tip I have for you is to try to be more confident. I know this is something we're all working on 24/7, and it is definitely not easy, but I think the more that you're confident, the more that you can execute things in your life so much easier. And the key with confidence is that it comes from trusting yourself. The way you can build up confidence is by building up little habits to gain trust in yourself. So for example, if you tell yourself every day, I'm gonna go to the gym every day, and then you never go and you never hold yourself to your promises, you don't trust yourself. So I think it's good to start by creating habits where you have to gain trust in yourself, to then go from knowing you're always gonna cancel on yourself and knowing you're not gonna show up for yourself, to showing up for yourself and going to the gym and keeping your promises to yourself, I found that that really helped me with my confidence, because it's like when I say something, I mean it and I'm gonna do it. So just in general in life, confidence is so important and it will take you so far. Like everyone says, it is literally faking it until you make it. And while you're building up your genuine confidence, you can pretend to be confident, and I promise that shows, and that energy is so powerful. The next tip I have for you is to prioritize your physical appearance. So as much as people say that this is a surface level thing and that, you know, you don't need to be attractive or you don't need to be in a certain shape to be happy in your life, that isn't true. Not saying that everyone has to have pretty privilege and be super perfect and you have to get all this work done and do all these things to change your appearance. Like, that is not what I'm saying at all. It's like your health and working out and just taking care of yourself. I think that this really shines through to other people when you start to prioritize like good hygiene and working out consistently, and like your skincare and your exercise regimen and the way you do your hair. Like, I think even though these things are surface level and a lot of people don't like to hear that these things are important, they are. And honestly, I personally feel like you can't fully enjoy your life to its fullest extent if you're not in good shape physically. So I just think that having a good workout regimen is a great place to start. And again, I'm not saying that you need to change your appearance by getting anything done or trying to look like other people. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think do what makes you feel the best and really put effort and time into your physical appearance, because I promise it will change the way you feel about yourself. This also ties back into confidence. So once you feel confident about your physical appearance and you feel like you're putting an effort to show up as your best self physically, you will be so much more confident, and I promise you great changes will come from that. The next tip I have for you is to take care of yourself internally. So we just talked about the external, but internally I think it's really, really important to take care of yourself. So this means like taking supplements, having a healthy diet, and staying hydrated. I know these are things we're all working on. I'm always working on that, and I feel like after the holidays, it's been really hard to get back into it and get back into routine and start taking care of myself like I always do throughout the year. But with the holidays, like, there's just so much going on that it's really hard to stick with a healthy routine, but trying to get back into it. Anyway, I just think it's really important to take your supplements every day and make sure you're drinking tons of water and you're staying hydrated. Also, just having a healthy diet, eating more vegetables, protein, whatever that means for you. Everyone's healthy diet is different and can look different, but eating whole foods that make you feel good inside is so important. Honestly, when you're doing all these things like taking vitamins and drinking water and eating healthy, you glow, and from the outside people can see that. So just take care of yourself and make sure you're nourishing your body. This next one is to make to-do lists and get organized. So I feel like a lot of times in life we get super overwhelmed really quickly because there's just a lot going on at once, especially if you're just naturally a busy person that's committed to a lot of different things. It can be really hard to not get overwhelmed and to stay organized, but my biggest tips for you are to get a calendar. I have a big whiteboard calendar in my room that really helps me with staying organized, and I swear to you, without this calendar, I would be missing everything and I'd be forgetting about things every single week. It has my whole month at a glance so I can see what's going on, and maybe that doesn't work for you. Maybe you prefer your phone calendar or getting an app. Whatever you have to do, I just think having a calendar of the month ahead of you is super important, and that really helps me stay organized. My whiteboard calendar really helps me because I can see my whole month at a glance and I can see what I have coming up, what to prepare for, what my next week is gonna look like. My second tip is to have a daily to-do list. I cannot go a day without writing my to-do list. I feel like my life is so out of whack when I forget this. Whenever I catch myself feeling overwhelmed and feeling like I have so much to do and not even know where to start, I always just take a deep breath and take out my to-do list and start writing in it, and then I immediately feel so much better. Another good habit to get into is to write your to-do list for the next day, the night before. I also do that all the time. I feel like it just helps me go to sleep without worries, and I can have everything written down and write a schedule for the next day so that I'm not worried about, am I gonna have time to do this tomorrow? Like, I need to make sure I get this done and I have this deadline. Just writing it all out and planning your days ahead of time is very, very important and will keep you super organized. The next tip is to take care of your environment. So this means keeping your room clean. This means washing your car, vacuuming your car, and just keeping your space clean. And also this means decluttering. I feel like a big part of why our rooms can feel or look messy is because there's just clutter that's not necessary. And I like to have like big purge deep cleaning days where I just go through all my drawers and my closet and everything that I have, and I just really think about what am I actually wearing and using every day and what is just taking up unnecessary space. And I swear the second that you declutter your space and get rid of things that you don't need anymore and things that you don't use and even donate things, you will feel like a weight has been lifted off your chest, and you will feel so much better about your life, because I swear the clutter that's sitting around and the messes and like the dust and things around your room, those things do contribute to poor mental health. And it may not seem like it, and it might seem like kind of crazy to say that, but I swear to you, if you're sitting in a room every day that's covered in dust and has clutter everywhere and isn't clean, you're naturally gonna feel unmotivated, and you're not gonna want to get up out of bed, and you're gonna want to lay around and be lazy because of your environment. The second that you take pride in your environment and start keeping it clean and organizing things and making sure that everything is put away and there's no clutter, and you get rid of the unnecessary stuff and have a fresh start, you will feel so much better. I think people really underestimate how big of a difference this makes in your life. I swear I feel so much less overwhelmed when I have my room clean and my stuff put away and get rid of things and throw things away or donate. I just feel like a whole new person. So the year just started, great time to just declutter and get rid of things. The next tip I have for you is to be quick to listen and slow to speak. Basically, when you're with your friends or with people around you, it's really important that you're listening more than you're speaking, because sometimes, like for me personally, I really struggle with this. I get so excited to see my friends, and I get so excited to like hang out with people that I haven't seen. So I'll just start talking and talking and talking and sharing all these things about my life. But then I realize, like, wait, I don't want them to feel like I only came here to talk about myself, and that isn't fun. And if you've ever experienced hanging out with someone and the whole time they're talking about themselves and you haven't even gotten a word in, like, you leave that feeling like unfulfilled, and it's not fun. I think just being someone that your friends can come to for advice and someone that will just listen is really important. Everyone can talk about themselves all day long, but nobody wants to be friends with someone that only talks about themselves. That's not fun, and it's also not a good feeling when you were the one talking the whole time and then you leave the hangout being like, oh my god, I hope I didn't annoy them the whole time, or I hope I only didn't talk about myself, and like I feel like I didn't let them get a word in. Like, that's also not a good feeling for yourself. So I just think starting to practice the habit of listening more than you're speaking is really important. The next tip I have for you is to try to be a light in other people's lives. So instead of when people hang out with you, you're talking about complaints you have from your day or things that are going wrong and being negative, I think it's so important to just try to stay positive and be someone that everyone likes to be around. And this also means asking people around you about their lives and how things have been going and any updates they have, and just taking a genuine interest in their life too. I think it just makes you like such a radiant person that people want to be around if you're putting in effort to talk about their life as well. This ties back into the tip I gave before this one, but taking time to ask your friends and family how they are and checking in is so important, and something that a lot of people forget to do, as well as making things fun and being lighthearted and just being a fun person to be around. Again, not being negative, and just always having fun and making sure to put in effort to ask how the people around you are actually doing. I think that just makes you such a radiant light that people are always going to want around in their life. Also, just focus on making people around you feel good. You want everyone to leave a hangout with you feeling better and uplifted and fulfilled, rather than drained and like they couldn't get a word in, or like that you were just negative or complaining. You want everyone to leave hanging out with you feeling better, even if that means a compliment or asking someone about their lives. Maybe nobody else does, you never know. And also just being a loyal friend and giving advice. And I don't want anyone to like listen to this and think that they have to transform themselves into a totally different person, because that's not my point and that's not what I'm getting at all. I just think it's really important to focus on being self-aware and the way that you're interacting with people around you, and, you know, asking people about their day, putting in effort. My favorite quote ever is, people often forget what you say, but they will never forget how you make them feel. Some variation of that. I know I'm missing some words there, but essentially people walk away from being around you remembering how you made them feel. The last tip I have for you is to remember that you're on your own timeline and there is zero rush in your life. I feel like a lot of times we're always stressed and worried and anxious about life, and that makes us maybe not such a fun person to be around because we're constantly talking about the future. But it's good to just be present and remind ourselves that yes, someone your age is maybe making more money or more successful or is doing something different than you that you want to be doing, but also that's their story and that's them on their own path, and there's no reason you should be comparing yourself to other people and comparing your life to theirs and thinking that you're not good enough or wondering why you can't be doing what they're doing, because again, everyone has their own path and their own timeline. So many people have been successful at like 50 or in their 40s, and not everyone has it figured out right away. So don't feel rushed or feel like you're in a hurry to have your dream life, because I catch myself worrying about that sometimes, and I just realize that I'm still so young and there's no reason to be comparing myself to other people that are my age, that are maybe doing what I want to do or have my dream life. There's no reason that I should be comparing myself to that or wishing that I was in their position, because also we don't know what people went through in their own lives to get where they are, and it comes down to comparison is the thief of joy. As like cringe as that might sound, it's true. So I just think that you need to relax and rest assured that everything will fall into place the way it's supposed to, and you're on your own timeline. That's it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's different from my usual content, but I just really felt a need to talk about these things for the new year. And I feel like I'm just in such a transformative period of my life where I'm really discovering who I am and trying to transform into the highest and best version of myself. So I just want to share some of these tips with you guys to maybe help you guys with your fresh start for the new year. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And I love you. I will see you in my next video. Bye.